We're giving a little bit of time so that other participants join in. And I'm a national contact point for the digital industry and space and civil security for society under the new framework program Horizon Europe. So first of all, I would like to welcome you for the first episode of the webinar series. Last year, we did the same for the last tranche of Horizon 2020 calls. This time around, we're going to do this for the upcoming and quasi-launched Horizon Europe framework program. So as you can understand, in order to bring you up to speed with the upcoming topics, we are going to have 2 sessions per day, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. So today, the first webinar will be focusing on the digital industry and space cluster. And on the afternoon, we're gonna discuss the culture, creativity, and inclusive society. So as usual, kindly adhere to our housekeeping rules. Keep your mics muted for the whole session. The session will be recorded and then it will be uploaded on the YouTube channel, our YouTube channel, for your own reference for the future as well. If you have any questions, kindly ask them through the chat box. This can be addressed back by our colleagues or else by myself at the end of the session. And we can wait for 2 seconds more and maybe you can start the session. Okay, so let's start. So this is the agenda for today's webinar. So a brief description on Horizon Europe, the eligibility criteria, how to participate in the program, the type of actions and funding rates, what's the link with the strategic plan, the actual brief on the actual document, the digital industry document, the destinations within, and also the research topics that are found in this cluster. So when it comes to the new Horizon Europe, first of all, the budget is of 95 billion euros. It is yet again structured on 3-pillar structure. In the first pillar, we are focusing mostly on activities that support researchers and their teams, for example, under ERC. And also under Marie Curie, we have anything which really supports mobility and training in order to enhance their knowledge of researchers. And moreover, even the support for research infrastructures, which have to be there in order to support research and the researchers as well. In the central pillar, pillar 2, as you can see, there is a merging of this previously known societal challenges and industrial technologies. So we have health, culture now as well, civil security for society, digital industry and space, climate, food, and even environment. So all in all, pillar 2 is mostly focused on industry and also societal challenges. And then in pillar 3, we find all the activities that are supportive of SME startups, since we find the EIC Council, in European Innovation Council there, the EIE ecosystem, which basically is there to create interconnectivity between regional and national initiatives, and also the AIT, which is mostly focused on creating a platform for actors which are coming from research, education, and also business. And then there are some parallel activities like Euratom, which mainly focuses on nuclear energy, and the widening part of the program, which is very apt for Maltese participants, since in this type of program, widening countries can participate together with more advanced in terms of technology countries in order to upscale their research and technologies as well. Obviously, on and all, the work program within the Horizon Europe are contributing to general bigger initiatives, like, for example, combating climate change And finally, they are also contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals. And all in all, the idea here of funding such a big program is to make sure that Europe is continuing being competitive in terms of research and innovation. So when it comes to the eligibility criteria, there are obviously some minimum criteria that need to be respected. In terms of the type of actions, there are 3 types. So if you are applying under research innovation action and an innovation action, the consortium needs to be made up by at least 3 entities coming from 3 member states or associated countries, where at least one member of the consortium is coming from a member state. Obviously, make sure that you are considering what type of role you want to have in this consortium. Can either be a beneficiary or a coordinator. This really depends. This really forms your next steps. If you are a coordinator, you need to look into finding partners, coming up with the proposal, and so on. If you are a beneficiary, you are more focused into doing a task within the consortium. So obviously, if you're a coordinator, you need to look into even the complementarity, the interdisciplinarity of the consortium members, and so on. And also, if you are going to consider applying for next year, make sure that if you are a public entity, you have also a gender equality plan, because this will be vetted in the proposal stage next year. In terms of the associated countries, make sure that you also look into the general annexes once it's officially published, because there is a list which sometimes gets updated from time to time to list those countries that are associated and still can participate in the type of calls. So as I mentioned, there are 3 types of actions. You have the research innovation actions, which are primarily focused into gathering knowledge and studying basic principles, observing new research phenomena. Then you have innovation actions, which are more addressing technologies that can be marketable, something that can be deployed in the market. And then you have coordination and support action, which is mostly focused into supporting activities to other research initiatives. Obviously, each type of action has a different focus. This focus usually is addressed by the TRL scale, which is short for technology readiness level. This is a scale to make sure that your technology is fitting a particular level. TRL 1 to 4, usually it's considered low TRL, meaning that it's more of investigating research phenomena rather than coming up with a prototype, because this is addressed in the higher TRLs from 5 to 9. So obviously, this is a good scale, which is even reflected throughout the whole work program, because it gives an identity, it gives an indication to the researchers where they need to start off their research and finally end it. So in a way, this is a very good guideline that is being used throughout the whole work program. In terms of funding rate, if you are a public entity, you will have 100% in all type of actions. But if you are a private entity, for profit meaning, and you apply under innovation action, you will be funded 70%. All in all these actions are, if you participate in all these actions, you will get 25% of indirect costs. These indirect costs are usually attributed to expenses like rent, electricity, water bill, and so on. So these are covering those actions that are not direct to the actual project, but obviously are expenses that have to be paid as well. So I've put this slide here to make you aware that now there is this co-creation approach in a way that is always reflecting EU policies. So one thing about these work programs, they are not only focused on the technology by itself, but they have always a policy background behind them. So obviously there is this strategic plan that is covering 4 years, from which there are these key strategic orientations that they have transcended into destinations and then form the orientations of topics, and finally the topics that we can apply for. And then the outputs of the projects coming from these consortia that have applied are feeding back to the strategic plan. I'm putting this here so to make you aware that when you are addressing a topic, make sure that you know at least what's the policy behind it. Because so do not attack a research topic in insularity. Make sure that if there is some reference to an initiative like the Green Deal, make sure that you know what Green Deal is about. And this obviously it can be deciphered from the call text directly, because the text is always giving you hints on how to proceed and submit your proposal and project. So in terms of the main vision of the digital industry and space cluster, apart from making sure that Europe is more competitive when it comes to industry, there is also now a very good hint of Green Deal initiatives and this new consideration in order to even make a better industry in terms for the environment. Apart from that, society is also being put at the center of these technologies. So it's not only development of research and technology into industry and digital solutions, but how can these together work to make a better environment and also create more beneficial society at large. So to list the main areas of intervention of the digital industry and space, these are all the areas that now are found in one document. If you have experience in the previously known Horizon 2020, the digital part, the industry part, and the space part were 3 separate documents. Now they are all into one. So the document is quite large, obviously because it's containing different initiatives. But here, if you want to have a real snapshot on what is being covered by this cluster, you will find the following areas. So we have manufacturing technologies, digital technologies, emerging technology as well, AI, advanced materials, and so on, and circular industry, so and space, obviously, space and Earth observation. Although you have these interventions, they are also interlinked in a way that nowadays the Commission also understood that it's better to have more synergies even between its own DGs. So since previously the work programs were a singular stream, having like a digital work program, an industry work program, space program, now they are merged into one, because even between the topics, you will understand that, for example, there is a digital solution for an industrial challenge. So, or else a space challenge that can be addressed through digital solutions. So there's a very good synergetic approach between even the topics. Here we have the actual work program. So this obviously can be downloaded online. Let me check if I can paste, or I paste it later. I will paste this link in the chat box so that you can download it. Unfortunately, the publication was not, the pre-publication stage was not done yet by the Commission, but through the transparency platform, you can download this document. And not only, you can also download other work programs in order to start looking into the type of topics that are there available for funding. One thing about the work programs, these are biannual documents, meaning that this document will be valid for this year and next year. And then the new work programs for 2023 and 2024, these need to obviously be formulated. Obviously, I would like to make this announcement as well, that you as a stakeholder can also participate in the co-creation of the next work programs. Obviously, because us as being national contact points and also delegates of the program, we also sometimes ask for feedback in order to shape the upcoming topics in the work program. So now we go into the destinations of the work program. As I said, the document is quite considerably large. So obviously one thing that has helped into forming it is to have more designed sections, and these are separated in destinations. For example, destination 1 is focusing more on industry topics. As you all know, industry is a main contributor to CO2 gas emissions. And obviously, if we can, in a way, create a more climate neutral and circular industry, this will contribute also to the Green Deal objectives. Destination 2 is mostly focused on the raw materials part of industry. And also there's a reference to materials. Here, the keyword is resilience and autonomy, because obviously the European Union is heavily dependent on raw materials that are coming from abroad. So here, the topics are focusing on creating this resilient, autonomous industry. Destination 3 is primarily focused on digital technologies like edge computing, IoT, and also and that kind of digital technologies there, and HPC as well. Then you have destination 4, which is focusing on emerging technologies, yet again, for the Green Deal. So as I mentioned previously, the hint of Green Deal is quite evident in this work program and even in other work programs. So you will find a lot of topics that are addressing this part. Then you have destination 5, which is mainly focused on space, all the space technologies ranging even from low-cost launchers to evolution services of the current services like EGNOS, Galileo, and so on. And then you have the destination 6, which is more focused on the human centricity of AI and making like the internet more trustworthy, and obviously for the benefit of society. So this is the kind of budget per destination. So you can understand here that the budget is quite considerable even for the first 2 years. In all, this cluster will be having like 15 billion over 7 years. So here these kind of funds are available for everyone, but obviously you need to participate in order to get some of them. So make sure that you start early and start considering the type of calls. Also start considering what type of role you would like to get, or a coordinator or being a beneficiary, and start working from practically yesterday, because some of the deadlines are even for September this year. So let's focus now on the destination 1. Yet again, since the document is quite huge, the topics are now addressed and sectioned under orientations. And yet again, these orientations are all linked to the strategic plan. So in a way, if you would like to investigate anything in relation to the following headings, like for example, green, flexible, advanced materials, involvement in hubs for circularity, or else anything which can be related to digital technologies for manufacturing, you will find the kind of topics under this section. There is also a new evident push for hydrogen. In fact, there is the electrification process of process industry. Process industries refer to those energy demanding industries like steel production and so on. These kind of industry require a lot of energy. And so in order to create this climate neutrality and obviously a circular industry, we need also to enforce or possibly investigate how we can electrify these kind of industries. So here, in terms of technologies and research areas, you will find anything ranging from robotics, raw materials, AI, industrial symbiosis as well. Industrial symbiosis, for those that don't know what actually it does mean, it means that the waste of an industry can be used as a raw material for another. This will create more circularity. And yet again, the hydrogen technologies, yet again, are given some prominence here in order to make sure that climate neutrality is reached as well. So yet again, these are the headings, and now I have added the type of calls. The type of calls, these are, the topics that are there for your own perusal. So I have also listed the type of action. So obviously, as you can understand here, you will find mostly innovation actions and research and innovation actions. You can also understand the type of budget that each one has, 10 million, 6 million. So the budgets are not low. That's why, although the eligibility criteria is of 3 minimum entities from 3 different countries, usually it doesn't materialize, because obviously having a budget of 10 million, you will all have a consortium which is made by 8 or more, because obviously you cannot ask for 10 million and being only 3 entities. Obviously, you need to make sure that, for example, let's consider the first topic, AI enhanced robotic systems for manufacturing. So even from the title itself, I can already start visualizing the consortium will be made by someone who's specialized in AI, someone that maybe is specialized in robotics, and obviously there's an industry element, because obviously there's manufacturing involved. Obviously, if you can submit a proposal which has a demonstration, because obviously it's an IA, an innovation action means that the TRL level is quite high. Obviously, a prototype needs to be demonstrated. In that case, obviously, since there's smart manufacturing involved, even maybe a test case or a demonstration in an in situ process would be always strongly suggested. I will not go into the full details of these calls, but just to give you a good hint here, these are only the calls for 2021. So there are another set in the work program. So I'm putting this here so that you can understand how the actual document is formulated and how you can find your own interests. But obviously, I kindly suggest you, if you need further information of any part of the program, kindly come forward and we can do a one-to-one on this. Then you have the other set. You have hard for circularity here, the calls under them. Also security of resources for the process industry. Maybe in this case, Malta could not in a way participate that much, because we don't have much of a process industry here. But keep in mind that if, for example, you are involved in plastic waste, you can still, or plastic, you can still contribute. Although these are industrially heavy topics, if you offer a digital solution, or you are focused mostly on digital research, you can still contribute to these kind of topics, because they are all under this type of work program. So we move to destination 2. Here we have, yet again, a focus on industry, but now we are more focusing on the resilience and its autonomy. So here, the prime focus is to create a more autonomous supply chain of raw materials for the European industry. So we have these 6 headings, and the type of topics are all, in a way, focused under these orientations. So here, if you are interested in materials, nano coatings, lightweight materials, here is your destination where you need to look into more detail. So this, just to give you a little bit of hindsight, this was like a reflection, this part is a reflection of the previously known manufacturing technologies, advanced materials under Horizon 2020. So here you will find the chunk of topics which are focusing mostly on materials technology. Even there is the mention of safe by design. Obviously, we need to make sure that the materials are being used now are more safe for society. Yet again, the orientations and their following topics. Yet again, I want to mention that these are only the 2021, the rest are on the document. So there's a quite considerable range here. There are also some CSAs. CSAs are these coordination support actions. For example, if I can see here, there's an EU-Africa partnership on sustainable raw material value chains. Although CSA can be a mono-beneficiary, when I see that there's an EU-Africa, obviously there should be entities coming from both continents. So it doesn't make sense to apply by your own half. Obviously, you need to have some sort of partnerships with an African counterpart. right? No. These are the second part of the same orientation under destination 2. Here we have even a reference to society and materials. As I mentioned in the beginning, this is not very focused on technology on itself, but it's also a document which is focusing now on materials, for example, as a researcher, but how it can benefit even for society. So there's this holistic approach, and also societies put more on the platform in order to provide research topics that are contributing to the benefit of society. Now we move into more digital technologies here. This area is more, the destination 3 is more focused on IoT, edge computing, and even data mining, and also cloud. So here, if you are more interested in digital topics, these topics are a bit in insularity. So they are not, there are no links to other industry or materials part here. So if you are interested in the following technologies or research areas, this is your section. There's computing, exploitation of data as well, and even extreme data mining. And these are the topics here for 2021. So this section is a bit smaller, in fact, even in terms of budget. And these are the topics that you can apply for. There's also 2 CSAs, one for cloud, edge, and IoT. Here, obviously, maybe these are activities that support the actual initiative. And also there's this roadmap that needs to be created for the computer system technology. So as you can see, also the budgets are less for CSAs because the efforts are less, because actually no research is being done, but it's more of a collaborative and supportive approach to a research initiative. We move into the destination 4. Here we have a good mix of electronics, photonics, AI, and robotics yet again. There's also the first mention of 6G, although 5G is not yet fully deployed here locally and even abroad. We are all, you can understand here how the Commission is already considering 6G. So here we are already addressing topics under 6G. So this just to show you how this type of program is always at avant-garde in investigating new technologies, obviously, to make sure that Europe is on the competitive edge when compared to other continents. So these should be your areas of interest if you are interested in low power processors, photonics, quantum as well. Quantum is another enabler, which obviously Europe would like to get total grasp on, and because obviously quantum computing will open a new realm even when it comes to quantum communications. So lately there was also some arguments because some associated countries were not being considered for the quantum topics, but obviously the Commission has its own reasons, because this kind of technology is very crucial at the moment, and it's good to be on the lead at the very beginning. So you have to find also topics which are related to the Green Deal yet again, and this Green Deal initiative is referenced throughout the whole document. Something about robotics and how they can better our industry and work. And 2 topics which are mainly focused on advanced characterization of materials. So we are referencing materials here, and also the study of 2D materials. So this destination is a very good mix between materials and digital technologies. Yet again, we find the different headings with the different topics here. You could see that there are quite a considerable amount, yet only for the first year, 2021. And even in terms of budgets, they're quite considerable. Yet again, the CSAs are less demanding when compared to the other research innovation and innovation counterparts. And yet again, the second part here, I've listed only the quantum technologies which are related to innovation and research innovation action, but there are a lot of framework program agreements under the same heading. So that's in the work program. So maybe you can even consider those as well. But here we find these headings, emerging technologies, deployable robots, and the flagship on quantum. So now we move to the destination 5. Destination 5 is actually the space part. So here you will find all the topics under space, ranging from launchers, evolution software of the services like Galileo, EGNOS, GovSatcom, space weather. Practically, it is the previously known space work program under Destination 5. So here, if you are interested in space technologies and also how data coming from space can be used for a digital reason, in a meaning that nowadays data coming from space is also used for climate change analysis. So it's yet again always consider that these kind of topics have also some relation to digital and even industry. So if you are interested in the following technologies and research areas like satellite communication, climate change services by space, low cost thrust propulsion. So yes, the European Union is also considering how to make it more affordable to launch things in space. Space weather as well, it's a very interesting topic. GovSatcom, EGNOS, and Copernicus application and also software evolution. As I mentioned, you can see here that even these kind of services now need to also contribute to the Green Deal initiative. So these are the topics here under the headings. You could clearly see the reusability for European strategic space launch is one of, I guess, largest budgets ever that to see. But obviously you understand that this kind of project requires quite an amount of funds to make it happen. So 43 million to investigate how to make space launchers more reusable. Obviously, the kind of partners involved here might be leading industrial partners, so the budget is quite considerable. And there are also the Copernicus initiative here, which is being funded for its service evolution. So here, for example, Copernicus Atmosphere Monitoring Service Evolution. Obviously here, the evolution needs to be done through a digital means. So do not limit yourself and say, for example, I'm not involved that much in Copernicus, but if you are a digital company which is providing digital solutions, you should also consider this kind of topics, because obviously a consortium is already made by different parties, and every party is made there in that position because he's bringing something to the table. So if you are an expert in digital technologies, you can in a way contribute to any part of not only the space part, but to any part of the program. So that's the reasoning of having a consortium, to create this complementarity between the members. And everyone is providing something to the actual proposal. This is the second part. And here we have even quantum technology for space gravimetry as well here. So quantum is also reflected in the space part. And then we have development of applications now even for EGNOS and Copernicus again. And yet again, the reference to Green Deal is prominent throughout the whole document. So obviously, in this case, make sure that you know about the Green Deal, you know what the objectives are, and also if you consider to write a proposal, make sure that you are referencing this in your document, and also you need to make it, you need to tell the story that your project in a way will contribute to the Green Deal objectives. Now we move to the last destination, which is mainly focused on the human centricity of digital technologies. Nowadays, we are also considering Internet of Trust, which is part of the NGI, in next generation internet. We need to make the internet a better and more safe place for everyone. So here, the most important thing that digital technologies in terms of AI, they also have this human element and also ethical element. And there's also this consideration of the gender aspects in AI. So now we are giving like AI, we're giving AI a more human consideration in a way. So these kind of topics are mainly focused on this. And one heading is also focusing on how to make these technologies more suitable for society and also industry. So you can see that if you are involved in either any part of this, maybe robotics, NGI, AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, and now we have a new term, which is called extended reality, meaning that it's like an add-on on the previously mentioned AR and VR, but obviously they are giving back a more sensorily feeling to the end user, meaning a more immersive experience when using this kind of technology. There's also innovation for media. So maybe, although you're not actually involved in any part of this from a digital point of view, but you're involved in media, you can still participate in this kind of topics. So these are the upcoming topics for 2021. So we have the first heading, leadership in AI based on trust. So there's a CSA there, which obviously is focusing on creating a trustworthy European AI and robotics. Then you have tackling, even look at gender, race, and other biases in AI. There's a very interesting topic, which is about AI to fight misinformation. Nowadays, due to the pandemic, we have been receiving even a lot of fake news, maybe, or from not that trustworthy sources. So here, there's a topic which is actually using AI to fight disinformation. Then we have the Internet of Trust. We have 5 topics there. So yet again, we need to create a much more safe place when it comes to the internet. The budgets are quite considerable here. There's a research innovation action. There are 2 and 3 CSAs. So just to hint you as well, when you find a research innovation action, it means that research needs to be done at a very low TRL. That means that even in your consortium, you need to have a more greater share of academics rather than industry. So that's something that I had to transmit earlier. But when you see that RIA, means that even in your consortium, it's better to have that research element, which is quite considerable since it's a RIA. Then you have the topics that are for under the extended reality. There are quite a considerable amount. So this is a new term that I didn't see in the previous work program. So you can see here the investment from the European Union in order to get a grasp on this kind of digital technology here. There's also innovation of media. So yet again, if you're involved in media, you can still participate here. And then we have a lot of activities which are actually making sure that the technologies that are being developed are being widely used by the communities that are coming from society and also from industry. In fact, there are 3 CSAs. For example, awareness raising on intellectual property management in R&I. This meaning that here you have an activity which is making sure that anyone involved in R&I knows how to handle IP. So when it comes to deadline, each destination has different deadlines for submission. So in the work program, you will find that the start date of the topic should be tomorrow, but we need to still await a little bit more because the process has been delayed. So the official document should be published around May, or else once it is submitted on the portal, funding and vendors portal. So at the time being, the deadlines should still remain the same. We are not entirely sure when the opening, so the actual time, so where we can start submitting is official yet. But in this time round, you can still start working on your proposals. So do not wait up till the official launch. I already know about other entities abroad that are already working on a proposal already. So the legwork is already being done. The consortia are being formed. So make sure that if you are interested in a topic as a beneficiary, obviously the effect in terms of workload is less compared to a coordinator. But obviously, if you're a coordinator, you need to start working from yesterday in a way. So these are the deadlines for this year. We have a lot of deadlines in September, all of them in a way. And then for the 2021 or 2022, sorry, you have for March, something in March, something in April, and something in September. This is just to show you an example of what a call is about. So all those headings that I mentioned under the orientations of each, for example, here I'm picking up artificial intelligence for sustainable agile manufacturing. This is a topic from destination 1. So here again, you have artificial intelligence, which is being used for a manufacturing benefit. So the heading are always the same. So you have the first part, which is horizon, CL4 is the cluster 4, 2021 is explaining that this has a deadline for 2021. So as we already have seen, this means that the deadline will be September. And that's the topic identified, which is a twin transition 0107. So in all calls, on all topics, sorry, you will find this table, which will give you a guideline of the maximum and minimum project budget that has to be spent. So in this case, this action is calling for between 4 and 5 and 6 million. So obviously do not ask for 10, do not ask for 2, be within the range. If you ask me what's the best budget to go for, I suggest to be more close to the upper limit, because obviously the commission has put this figure there because it understands the kind of work that is needed to achieve the challenge. This is not a cheapest tender submission here, so do not say let's make it 1 million so that they will favor us. No, it's not, doesn't work this way here under this kind of structure. The total budget is 18.5 for this topic, meaning that at least 3 or 4 proposals will be funded. So that's your success rate there. So imagine you have like 100 proposals being received. So it's quite competitive. So the proposal needs to be well written, and obviously it's encompassing what is its scope. So make sure that again the policy behind the topics are actually reflected. It's an innovation action. So as you mentioned, as I mentioned in the previously, the innovation action means that you have to have a 70% funding rate for profit making. And yet again, the TRL level now is part of the topic, which is now more structured because it's guiding you the kind of activity from where it needs to start and needs to end. So make sure that the TRL levels you are acquainted with. There's the general annexes that describes the TRL level. So there's even a commission definition. But if you look on the internet, even I think my colleague has also shared a pictogram of the TRL level. Make sure that you know what they are indicating. So TRL level, make sure that what TRL level means. Then in each call, you will find the expected outcome. So yet again, the commission doesn't bind you in how to do your proposal or how you're gonna, create your own pathway to receive the funds. In a way, you must to make sure that you are providing a very good storytelling that is actually reaching these expected outcomes. So make sure that you read the text carefully, you start underlying underlying the keywords here, for example, as I can see, there's sustainable manufacturing. So obviously you need to involve manufacturing and make sure that the processes are turned into more sustainable, since you are employing digital technology like AI. Obviously, increase environmental sustainability here, and also resilience of industry. State of the art is another important term here. So make sure that what you are providing in terms of AI is avant-garde, it's something breakthrough, because obviously this will impact your proposal scoring. Evaluations are done on 3 criteria. You have excellence, so make sure that your proposal is excellent when it comes to the actual research area. Then you have an impactful, so make sure that within your project you are reaching these expected outcomes. And obviously the implementation part, meaning the complementarity of your consortium, meaning that in this case, I can see that obviously there should be someone from a digital background, someone from industry, and obviously make sure that all in all, you come up with a very good proposal, or else, as you can see previously, the competition is quite high. And then there is the scope. The scope is giving more details about the challenge. Yet again, this text is not that prescriptive. Also, for the amount of budget that there is, these topics are usually ranging between 1 or 2 pages. So it's not an extensive document, really. Well, sometimes I'm impressed, like they fund like 10 million on a write-up of 1 page. But obviously now it's all in your hands, meaning that you need to come up with a very good proposal in order to address those specific outcomes. Yet again, it seems that Green Deal is haunting us here. The Green Deal is evident again. So yet again, you need to make sure that all the policy objectives are respected when addressing these calls. Obviously, this in this kind of session also, because time is not permitting us, this was done in a very not hasty way, but I put this here just to give you a little bit of an overview what the call is about. But obviously, if you would like further information on any part of what was discussed today, kindly come forward and we can do a one-to-one meeting. So yet again, this is the funding and vendors portal. So this should be available in the coming days. Here, this is another way how to look for topics. So previously we were going into the work program by itself. And obviously this is a much more, how do you say, efficient way how to look for topics, because you just type in the keywords. Let's say you're interested in IoT, edge computing, quantum. You type in this term in the keyword search bar there, and you start looking for topics. The topics will be extracted not only from the digital part, unless you filter out the digital work program, but these will be looking into all the work program. That's another thing that I would like to mention. If you are someone that maybe your interest is mainly on digital technologies, do not only consider the digital industry and space work program, but consider the whole work program, or the whole program, the framework program Horizon U, because there is the need of digital technologies for anything else, like for example in health, in climate, and so on. So this is us. I think this is the final slide here. So we are 6 NCPs. We are cover all the program. So we have this no wrong door policy. So if you would like any information on any part of the work program, kindly contact us. We have various means. We have the general email, horizonmalta.malta.gov.mt. We have also a very strong now presence on social media. So make sure that you are aware about our pages, because we are always, we have a very active administrator that is always publishing our initiative, any initiative, because as you can see, the program is so huge that it's always coming up with different initiatives. So make sure that you are aware and connected to our Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook page. Most importantly, our YouTube channel. There you will find previously done webinars as well. So make sure that you are subscribed there. Sorry for this, but I didn't kindly look into also our mailing list, the newsletter. This can be accessed and you can enroll there under the mcst.gov.mt webpage. You can go there, top right corner, click register, and you will start receiving mail shots, because we send and also receive some partner searches from abroad, and these partner searches are the actual B2B in order to create consortia or be part of a consortium. So make sure that you are also listed in our newsletter. As activities, as NCPs, we not only do these kind of webinars, we can also tailor-made activities according to your company or public entity exigencies. So if, for example, you are interested, let's say, in topics of culture, for example, we can do a culture workshop at your premises or even online, where basically we can explain more in detail the type of course that might be of your interest. And then we also can help you how to come up with the proposal, start writing up, and so on. As services, we support you throughout the whole process. So this, for example, this webinar today gave you a very good overview maybe of what's in the digital industry and space. But as NCPs, we can support you in finding the call, finding the partners. We can give you hints for the actual proposal writing. We would like to also announce that we have a lot of schemes that support even your proposal. We have the iPass Plus option B, where you can ask for, should be launched, I think yesterday, should be launched yesterday, today, sorry. iPass Plus should have launched today, where there you can ask for a consultant, 5,000 euros for a consultant to write up, make it more attractive, your proposal. So in all, you are supported throughout the whole process. Apart from writing the proposal, then we support you also in the project implementation and also post-project, meaning then maybe there is an audit, we can also support you in that as well. So I think that's it. Thank you very much. Hope that this was a good overview from your end as well. You understood a little bit more about the work program. Yet again, I would like to stress out that if you would like further information, kindly come forward. I'm here to support you throughout. Let's see if there are some, okay, there are some questions. Okay, thank you, Tamara, for pasting this. Thank you. What is expected for each project? How many potential will be funded? All right. I'm seeing this question from Goncha. What is the expected budget for each topic? Well, in each topic, how many potential consortium projects will be funded on each topic? So as I mentioned in the type of in the extract of the proposal there in the call topic, the actual identification of the project budget is always written. So there's a range. So here the document is giving you a very good indication what kind of budget will be needed for doing that challenge. In terms of how many potential consortia will be funded in each topic, yet again, it's dependent. Let me show you. It's dependent on this figure here. So in this case, we have 18. Let's say we have 3 proposals that are or 4 proposals, very good proposals of let's say 3, 3, 5, and 5. And then obviously once this budget is used up, then that's it. That's your success rate there. But let's say we have a 20 million budget pool. You have 5 projects of 4, and that's it. That's it. Then unfortunately, good projects usually end up in the reserve list as well. So this means that on the reserve list, let's say the Commission has some underspending in a particular area, maybe it can shift some budgets so that the topics or the proposals on the reserve list can be funded as well. But all in all, from here, from this table of each topic, you will understand what's the success rate already. So, and Lily, thank you for pasting as well. Oh, sorry, all right. IPAS call has been postponed until, okay, thank you, Lily, for this. Okay, thank you, Goncha, as well. So let's wait, maybe there is some other questions that maybe have come up. Yet again, do not feel alone on this, so we are here to support you. Kindly come forward. Can you please go to the gender part? Do we have to offer one as a college? Yes, Goncha, yes. Being a public entity, this is a requirement that needs to be there when you are going to apply for the upcoming calls. So yes, as MCAST, you have to have a gender equality plan, which is actually a working document, which is actually being used, not only put on the shelf. So this is something that needs to be done this year in order to make you eligible to apply for next year. This is okay. So this can be also, we can support you in this in a way. Goncha, if you would like some guidance, we can do a further meeting even with our NCP as well, which is focused more on this part. I have a question, a private question. Hi, Mark. May I have a quick one-to-one meeting later? Yes, of course. Alex, let me jot this down. That would be awesome. I'll write you. Okay, thank you, Goncha. Okay, Alex. Yes, okay, Alex. I saved you. I can call you after this meeting, after this webinar. Okay, let me put the last slide. Maybe anyone else would like to see our link. Are there any other questions? I don't know, Lily, what do you suggest if we maybe launch the video of Tamara, maybe, the novelties, or we don't have time?
Yes, let's
we just made a small animation in order to give you a little bit of overview of the novelties. So let me stop sharing my screen, and then I think you can share it, Lily.
I cannot do it, Mark.
No,
I cannot access Facebook. That's why.
Okay, Mela, let me stop share, and then you can play it, Tamara. Okay for you?
I can try. Yes, definitely. I hope that the sound, you can hear the sound as well. So let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes, okay, Tamara.
And can you hear it?
Not that much, but at least the text is okay, Tamara. So there are 5 main differences. The IC here, which has 2 parts, the accelerator and pathfinder. Obviously, the IC is mostly focused on bottom-up, very innovative solutions coming from SMEs with high TRLs as well. The missions, there are 5 missions: oceans, climate, cities, and soils in concept. The open research Europe as well. So in this case, every research will be more open So the results coming from Horizon Europe should be more available to everyone. That's why there's the or. And partnerships, a lot of partnerships as well, even covering the digital industry and space cluster. Simply, should be 3 types: co-programmed, institutionalized, and co-funded. And this is the generative equality plans that even was asked for further. So if you are a public entity, make sure that you're up to spec with this gender equality plan, especially if you're going to consider to apply in the upcoming calls after 2022. So, because this will limit your participation in the program if you don't have this in place. For now, it's for public entities only, but I guess over time it will be also transcended even to private entities as well.
Actually, not just for public entities as well, public bodies, yes, research organizations and higher education institutions.
Oh, yes, like university, they
Exactly.
non-profit. For now, it's non-profit tomorrow. Anyone who's not profit has to
exactly, technically, yes. We still do not know. I mean, there hasn't been any official information if this will be kind of a criteria for SMEs or profit making. I mean, obviously, if there's an update on this, we will
yes.
and share it on our newsletter, social media, etc.
Okay. Very well. Okay, Mala. I think we can conclude, unless there are further questions. Thank you very much. I invite you for the afternoon session, which will be led by Tamara, covering the cluster of culture and inclusive society. So,
Mark, do you want to do the poll, please?
yes, please. Yes, please.
Okay.
Just a feedback poll, as usual, in order to better our services. So, if you have some time, it's just a 5-question poll, so not that much. And
Can you see it, Mark?
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, I share screen first.
Let me. I relaunch it. Let me.
All right.
Okay, the poll is on, guys. So if you, I really appreciate if you contribute. Thank you very much, and I wish you a very pleasant day.